Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Silver Spook podcast. I'm very excited to be here with...
Japes from Peahead Games. I'm also excited to be here.
I'm a one person similar to Japes here, also known as Peahead Games. So I've been trying to get visibility. I've been doing a lot of these like streams and these videos and podcasts and stuff. And so Peahead Games was like, I think he might have stock in Silver Spook live streams because he's like always in. He's like always in the streams. And long time friend when I'm streaming, so I don't look like an idiot streaming by myself. He's been working on his game Neon Sword, which I've been keeping an eye on because it's a very cool cyberpunk game. Neon Sword: transport yourself to a dystopian city where life is lived on the edge. A city bathed in neon, casting light over your nocturnal nightmares. So it's currently in production. It started out as 2D Cyberpunk RPG, but now it is 3D, made in Unity, stylized. Art style kind of reminds me a lot of Deus Ex, my favorite game of all time. I just played some of that like last night, so I'm really excited to. I really want to try this out and play it once there is a demo available. I like everything I've read and seen about it. You should immediately maybe pause the podcast and check it out and come back. You're a one-person show, right? One guy working on this.
Yeah, one guy doing it all, just like you.
Yeah, we gotta stick together. It's tough work, man. It is a lot of work. So I respect anybody who is insane enough to take on that amount of work of trying to make an entire game. RPG by themselves. I mean, it is. Maybe this is something we can talk about. I haven't talked about this a lot. I don't know. I want to try not to retread too much ground on the Silver Spoon podcast, so it doesn't sound like a broken record. But I think like one thing I noticed is when you're doing it by yourself, like if you're an indie developer working by yourself, I like to joke that it's kind of like being a writer is kind of like being a public schizophrenic liar in that you're pretending to be all these different characters in your story. You're talking to each other. And then you write it down, and then you it's all lies, and so you're delusional schizophrenic, and then you share it to the world, and people give you money, and that's kind of crazy. But making a game by yourself, it's like being the writer, right? Plus you got to be the artist, plus you got to do the programming, plus you got to do marketing and the money and the accounting and all that other stuff. It's just crazy. I don't know. To me, it's like wearing a lot of hats, and it is tough, but it's easier now than it used to be because what do you think? What is it like having to work on one thing and then jump to the other thing, and what is that like for you?
So what I try to do is break it up so that, say, a couple of days I'll be working on just programming completely, and then I'll go like to modeling for a couple of days, and then I'll split up like that rather than doing it in bits and bobs everywhere. But it does feel like you've got something wrong with you at the end of the day.
So the modeling stuff is what are you using to do that part of it, the modeling?
It's actually a voxel program called Cubicle, I think. I can't actually remember its name.
I noticed the voxel, the style is kind of pretty popular now. I mean, like, there's a few games that have that. I'm sure you heard of is it the Last Night or Late Last Night, the one that's coming for Xbox?
Yeah.
Is that? I don't know if that was made with the same program. Maybe not, but it's a similar style, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, it's Cubicle that I use. It is good. I'd rather do it in high definition, but doing that all by myself, it'd take forever.
So as I mentioned before, like I kind of take on the public speaking part of the job because I don't have a publisher. So can you say anything about your publisher or how that's been like working with those folks?
They are brilliant to work with. I don't know what I can say and can't say about them, to be fair, but they're a good load of people. It's for charity, and they're worth being with. I can't really say too much because I'm not sure what I can and can't say about them.
Right. Well, I guess on your website, you have Keystone Games on there, so obviously that's okay. I mean, we can all say that you're being published by Keystone Games.
Oh yeah.
And Keystone Games, I checked them out, and I really liked everything I heard and read about them. As I understand it, half of all the profits go to a charity, largely for the disabled children.
Is disabled children with life-limiting diseases and such. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So this is like a pretty cool publishing company. I mean, of all potential publishers to be with, I mean, this is one thing like I've heard a lot is that, if you do go out and try to get published, you gotta, if you're indie, you gotta be really careful because, there's a lot of shady folks out there, who are, they'll say they'll publish you, but then, you end up getting ripped off. And 6 months in, you made $1 million on Steam, but that's all vanishing into
it's all
the publishers. The publishers' yachts and mansions. It's like, what happened to all my money? So I mean, I don't know. Keystone's game. I mean, if they upfront they tell you that they're gonna give half of the money to, to this charity, then I think that and everything I've seen and heard and read from them is like they seem like a I talked a little bit to some of the people at Keystone Games and they're really cool, awesome group. This is the sort of group that I would like to be published by if I had to, because I don't think I wouldn't want to just give over the keys to something like Neophyte to or Neophyte 2 or Dismaton or any of the games I'm working on. I wouldn't just hand that over to some publisher who's going to be like, oh, I want you to change all of this and throw all that away. And also, we're going to bring this whole team on and totally change your game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I'll be like, you know what? Nah, I'm too cyberpunk for that. I'll give you the finger, man. Like, how about I give you the finger and you give me all the money you stole? No, but yeah, so have you made it? Is this your first commercial game or have you made other games in the past? Or?
I've made other games in the past, but they're not on sale now or active anywhere. There might be a few online somewhere, but none that I'm selling myself.
Oh, I see. Do you have a release date for it?
Not an exact release date. It's just 2018. I'm thinking because it's such a big game, I don't want to point down an exact time and be like, this is when it's going to be released, but it definitely will be 2018.
Okay, 2018 sometime. So yeah, it looks like you got a lot going on. I mean, it's an RPG, right? So that's a lot going on. Explore the neon-bathed Quaid City, a living, breathing city with diverse population. Buy real estate and influence the city around you. Collect different and unique clothing items. Kit yourself out with entire arsenal of hardcore weaponry, a deep branching storyline, and save the city or run it into the ground. It's your choice. That's a lot of stuff to do. I was interested in this, like buy real estate and influence the city around you. So how does that work?
Well, you could there's different ways you can get older businesses, which is like you can buy plots of land, which are they're basically construction sites which are around the city. You choose whichever building out of a list that goes on that plot of land, pick the building. If you've got the money, build it, and it'll take like one building will take maybe 3 days, where another will take 4 days, something stupid like that. It'll grow, and then once it's built, you'll get a text message on your phone in game, and you get an app. And when you click on that app, and it brings up all the information of the building. You can customize the color of the lights. So like the neon lights around it will be, you can pick them from red to pink, whatever. You can make your own logo. I think I posted a picture on it somewhere. Anyways, I don't think I did it on Indie Database, but I did post one on Twitter. You can pick the logo, the name, all sorts like that. You can hire people, send them off to do missions around the city, depending on what you're doing. Because like every business has a legal business and a back end illegal business. So you can have a legal supplying weapons legally, and then at the back end you could be selling drugs. Every business has that. And then there's another way of getting businesses which is linked to the story, where you'll have to fight a boss in that business, and that you can either destroy it or take it over, which is up to the player. All the business management bit is completely optional. But yeah, that's what I can say about it without breaking any rules.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds pretty interesting. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Syndicate, a little bit. I didn't play too much of that game. I don't know if you ever played that one.
Yeah, I did play Syndicate. Well, Jane worked on it, didn't he?
Right. Yeah, that makes. Yeah, I would guess you would play it. But yeah, it's that whole, like, the front is you have a legal front, and then black market, or not so legal alternate business is an interesting concept. Rusty Bucket. I'm looking at one of the screenshots here. What does the Rusty Bucket sell? I was looking. Well, I guess you can't say spoilers. Yeah, maybe not.
I think it says below robot parts.
Oh yeah, robot parts. Is that the small sad robot gonna work there, or is that something else?
That'd be a good idea, actually.
Oh okay. There you go. I want 2% for that idea. No, I'm just kidding. The combat, is it like Shadowrun kind of combat, or how does that work?
The combat's you've got melee combat, which it's got like a lock on, like kind of like Witcher, but the shooting's more free for all. Like you can move whatever, you can move wherever you want, fire wherever you can duck behind things, push up against the wall and shoot from around there, stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe let's talk a little bit about the cyberpunk stuff. So, like, obviously everybody knows, the Silver Spook story. So I don't want to regurgitate that again. But what made you start walking around the city with trench coats and the pink mohawks? What got you into that?
Pink mohawks.
Oh, okay, maybe not. That's what I wear around my city. So I don't know what you wear around your cyberpunk city. But what got you into cyberpunk?
I don't know. I've just always took a liking to it, but I wouldn't say there's anything in particular. I know your story is quite similar to mine, but in a different part of the world. I was homeless for quite some time. I'd been in the army as a combat medical technician. I was stupid at the same time because I was hanging around with people that I shouldn't have hung around with, and they decided to play with 2.2 rifles, and I was running away from them because they were shooting at me, messing about, and I went to jump over a fence, and the fence was 6'6", and I'm 5 foot and a peanut. I'm 5'7", I think. I was climbing the fence, and as I jumped, my jeans had got stuck on the bottom, this sharp bit of the fence, and I swung around and completely crushed my shoulder. The thing is, my shoulder saved my life because the doctor said if it had been my head, I would have just snapped my neck and I wouldn't be here. It meant I had to change careers and everything. I went into a bit of a depression for a while. Ended up homeless for probably about half a year. Got sorted, got back on my feet. Where I am now, really, it's been a journey, but yeah, I think when you're in them situations, you think dark anyways, and yeah, I think that's mainly probably how things got to they are now. I met my wife and things went better from there. I've got a place to live now. Yeah, I would go back to the army if I could, but nah, I think game dev's the best way for me right now.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy, man. I didn't realize, that you're in that situation. Shoot, yeah, I was we were kind of homeless for some time, but never 6 months, and not in. I don't know, man. That's you're in Hull, correct?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you could talk a little bit. I mean, I'm a little bit interested. What was that like? What was that like? That part of it like for you? I mean, because in Hull. I mean, in Hawaii. I mean, the only good thing about here is you won't freeze to death. I mean, where is Hull? By the way, I'm not pulled up on my UK.
The northeast of England, so it is cold, but it was about February, March time as well, and I was mainly staying in parks on the benches. A bit later on, a few more, probably a month or two into it. No, it was about 2 months into it. A friend of mine offered me their caravan that was in the back garden, and I ended up living in that for a few months as well.
Oh, I see. And garden is like that's like your yard, right? Or like your
Yeah.
you look okay, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, wow. I mean, how old were you when that happened?
Um, I would have been about 17, 18.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, like, cause yeah, I don't want to say it again, but I was working with the kids. A lot of the kids were homeless. The kids that I was working with. So, I mean, I guess I don't know if you were here. I might have ended up. You went to kind of did you go to like a program or like a employment kind of
Um,
help thing or?
no, I did everything on my own. It was difficult because in England you leave school at 15, 16. I'd left at 15 because that was when my birthday fell. Um, I think at 15 I'd signed up to the army with my parents, well, my mother, because I don't have parents, but my mother. We'd signed up for the army straight away. Like the second I'd left school, it was like the week after I'd signed up for the army. She wasn't really about, kicked me out once all the army stuff fell through, and I ended up on the streets by myself, and I didn't know what to do. It was only for a friend that let me into his caravan after I fall ill from being in the cold that I started to get help from him. He was like, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that, and we'll get you sorted here and there." And after a while, my gran, she said I could stay with her for a bit, and I ended up staying with her after that for quite a while. And then I moved back to my mum's, which wasn't the best thing I ever did because I ain't got the best parents in the world. But,
Oh man. Wow. That's crazy. Your mom kicked you out?
yeah, she made me homeless. She's yeah. I don't know if you can call her mum. I don't have contact with her anymore.
Oh geez, man. Sorry to hear that. I did not realize that.
Nah, it's all right. I'm a parent now myself. I've make sure I do things differently, innit?
Yeah, don't kick your little guys out, man.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. That's like, yeah. I don't want to say. I don't even want to cheapen it by saying like that's like a cyberpunk thing, but I mean that is like that is a cyberpunk. I mean, I mean, this is my personal feeling. Like, that's kind of why I came to cyberpunk. I'm in Hawaii. This is like kind of, you think about it, it's like the least cyberpunk place on the planet, right? It's like, tropical, bright. This is not cyberpunk land. It's like, it's bright rainbow land, not cyberpunk land, right? But it's like, but I mean, it's more about the situation. It's like, I mean, something about it, because I mean, cyberpunk, it focuses on underdogs, and it's not about the guy who, Star Trek is about the guy who is the general in the military who made it, or like big important people. Where cyberpunk kind of focuses on underdogs and sometimes criminals, sometimes they're criminals because they don't have anything else to do, right? I mean, a lot of the kids I work with, like they were homeless, but some of them were boosting cars, knocking over 7-Eleven, gives you bikes in the alley, those kind of kids. And they're not necessarily doing that because, like, when they're 5 years old, they're like, oh, when I grow up, I want to go steal bikes and knock over 7-Eleven. It's just like, I don't have anything else to do, kind of like
situation.
Yeah, and if, the other kids, the society is like, a lot of them are being told like, get out of here, because some of them are, they're minorities, they're, whatever reason, they're being told like, just get out of here, and so, they don't have a lot of opportunity, so they're gonna say, well, screw you, I'm gonna come steal some of your stuff, it's kind of what they're doing. So, anyways, yeah, but that's crazy, man. I don't know what to say about that, but I think that well, here's something. How's being a parent now, like parenting game dev segment? How is that like?
Well, it's good because they want to be involved. Like my daughter, she's always like, "Can I test Neo out? Can I run around your city? Can I steal some cars in your game?" It's like, no. She's like, "Please, Daddy."
I want to steal some. All right.
I end up going in Unity, turning off everything that's like violent and stuff, and like, yeah, go on then, you can run around. And she's like, oh, but you've turned the cars off.
Oh man, How old is your daughter?
She's 7. She'll be 8 next year now.
Oh wow, yeah. So what is it? Is that is there grade? Is it like first year or second year in
Yeah,
England?
she's in year 4, I think. Yeah, year 4 or year 3. Year 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
year 3. She's in year 3.
Yeah, you get. Well, I guess I don't know. Some kids are playing GTA at age 5, so But yeah, that's probably a good idea to maybe hold off till later. How many do you have altogether?
3.
Oh, 3. Okay. How old are the other ones?
10 and 2.
Oh, I see. And I said you remember you saying that you had the little guy on your lap or something.
Yeah, I am right now because he'd be screaming down the mic. But yeah, he's a character as well. He's like, "Cars, Daddy, let's go on the cars." It's like, no, mate, Daddy can't do that. It's like, come on.
Yeah. That's. I mean, that's good. Like I was gonna say, yeah, you had him on your lap while I think I was playing Terminus Machina, the Deus Ex game. I was like, I hope. Well, good thing that the dialogue is kind of hard to follow because they say some nasty stuff happens in that, but well, not for the most part. It's just a guy running around and talking to people and. But yeah, I hope he didn't see Silver Spook get blown up by a drone. That might have been a little traumatizing. But like I don't know, how do you balance like trying to be dad and then also do the game dev?
I think mainly I do it while they're at school and when they're in bed, but in between, if I need to do something during the day while they're about, I've got my wife looks after them, so that's the easiest part. Unless they come and sit with me, and then they'll come and sit with me, and they're like, "Oh, Daddy, can I see what your game looks like now?" It's like, yeah, you can have a look, but don't touch anything.
My wife is from Canada. I won't say anything about that again because I always make that same joke. But basically, she's keeping them right now. Otherwise, you would have the kids running around screaming in the mic. They know what the live stream is now because they know that like when Daddy does live stream or podcast, they know that means like later on they're gonna get a treat like a candy or something because they have to be quiet in the house. Yeah, for being good. Thanks for not screwing up Daddy's live stream, kids. Here, have a Pop-Tart. Like we're gonna go park and you can play with some friends. It's kind of yeah, because we're doing. My wife does homeschool, so she's teaching them also. So she's full time.
Yeah.
So it works out really well because I mean it's kind of good in a certain way to kind of be working from home because then you can never get the complaint. Your last can never call you and be like, "What are you doing? Are you at the club? What are you doing? When are you coming home? Are you at the pub? You're always there, so they can never accuse you of anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I was game deving in the basement. I wasn't out with anybody, so and also you can spend as much time as you want with the kids, which is, I mean, it's one thing. Like my parents, they were they're both working like all the time, and I mean they did spend time with us, but that's a case of a lot of city parents, and where I'm from, they work 2 jobs. So that's one reason why I quit that city and I came over here is because I was working 2 jobs and then I wasn't seeing the little guys, and when I did see them, I was really mad because the jobs I was doing was just really stressful and crazy. So it's kind of like, I mean, that's one thing I'll tell if you're gonna be a parent and a game dev. I mean, that's one good thing about it is when you're doing game dev, you usually, unless you're working for like EA Games in the big office, right? You're mostly gonna do it from home because nowadays it's so easy to get everything you need and you can run this development software Unity on any laptop. So I mean that's one benefit of it. Even though like you may not be making millions and billions of dollars right off the bat, I guess you're hoping you're gonna make some money from it, but I guess it's kind of up to Keystone Games. Although they're pretty big, as I understand. Like they publish it all over the planet, and they got huge connections. So.
Oh yeah. I think everyone hopes to make some money though, don't they? Like we're not doing it just to do it as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
We need to get some out of it, even if it's just a couple of quid. Even there, it's better than nothing.
Yeah,
but
no, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a passion as well, but we need to finance the passion sometimes, and we can't just finance it with bread and butter.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's one stigma I try to, one like stereotype that's like, yeah, indie devs who kind of just do it for the passion, and if you're doing it, you should just do it because you love it. And I think, yeah, you do love it, but it's like you can love something, but it's also a job and it's also work, and it is work. I mean, like, it's like when I don't know about you, but when you get to that last phase where you like the polishing getting the bugs out. I mean, you might love the game, but that's a lot of hours of like, that's not the fun part. You're just like making sure all the shading is right and making sure your geometry isn't broken. I mean, that's like, sometimes it can be kind of like janitorial, just kind of cleaning stuff up right in the game.
Oh yeah. You can. I don't care what anyone says, no matter how much passion you got for it, sometimes you can hate your own game. Like, I love Neon Sword, but sometimes it can piss me off. I could have placed an entire like area and then look at it and think that's all floating about 2 inches off the floor. But from the angle, you can't tell until you've like got in and looked. It's like, no. So then you spend like another 2 hours placing everything right again. It's like, yeah, it's stuff like that it can get repetitive, but you do it, you love it, but you hate it at the same time.
No, I definitely remember. I remember that when I was doing the Deus Ex modding. That's the thing that's closest to this game, and I remember that like that took spent like I don't know how long trying to just get the sidewalk. What is this like? The sidewalk looks more like a cliff. It's like 2 feet, but when you walk away from it, it looks normal. But yeah, that kind of perspective stuff can be a nightmare. Especially if you're by yourself, if you have like a architecture specialist, like an actual architect with a degree in making skyscrapers and shit, like that guy knows what he's doing. But I mean, you're mostly eyeballing it, right? When you're, you don't have a. So yeah, it's like the thing you gotta love it. I mean, I think a lot of people who listen to this a lot of them are developers, so don't just get in it, so I know some people do just jump in it to make a lot of money. Unfortunately,
this is the thing. Straight away.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not gonna happen straight away. You gotta love it. I mean, somebody asked on the Twitter, it was like, so this game dev, I heard that it's very stressful and there's a lot of crunch time. There's a lot of long hours. There's a lot of job insecurity. And how can we make it less stressful? And I just say like, it's never not gonna be a lot of work. There's not really a solution. The only thing you can do is just like accept that maybe you'll make it and you're not gonna make all your money back. And, just accept that maybe it won't happen because statistically, indie games, not all of them are gonna, do extraordinarily well. I mean, usually at least, somebody will play it, but you're not gonna be able to, fund the next 5 years of your life. Your career is not, your salary is not gonna be paid by the game necessarily. So if you accept that, then it's a little bit less stressful, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, well, you said you made a few games. Like, how many games have you made altogether?
Let me just. I made quite. I think I released about 3 or 4, but hang on, I'll see if any are still about on the internet. I got 1 million prototypes though.
Oh, there you go. Maybe we can add that some bonus special features. The, Peahead Games or old school catalog.
Yeah.
You can have them as little arcade games inside of your game. Like on the side of, because you said you can have an arcade with arcade games in there.
Yeah.
I was gonna do that in near future. There's a whole bar called the arcade where you can like go inside and you can play this video game. I didn't have time to go in and put like actual like video games, mini games inside, but part of the game is playing an art. You have to like beat this like cop. You have to beat like a narc cop at an arcade game as one of the puzzles.
I need to literally sit down and play it properly without getting distracted by work and stuff. I need to find time to play through it.
Oh yeah. No pressure. You got your publisher to make happy, but yeah, when you get a chance, if you get stuck, I to be honest, like I got really stuck in a lot of adventure games. It made me feel kind of dumb. Like so if you get stuck, I mean, there's walkthroughs for Neofeud. There's walkthroughs. I heard that in the UK that the kind of those point and click ones were bigger there than here.
To be fair, I was never into the point and click games that much. I think obviously I played Neofeud, and I think the only other game like that I played was a game called Murder. I think it was called Murder. Yeah, Murder it's on my list, on my Steam list. When I was younger, I was more into Metal Gear Solid. Like that was the main game that I'd play constantly on like, I think it was the PlayStation 1 one at the Metal Gear Solid.
Sure. What was your first system then, if that was PlayStation 1?
The first system I had was an Amiga 1200.
Oh wow!
I'm old.
Wait, Amiga 1200. I'm gonna look this up. No, I don't know. I might be older than you. I don't want to. I'm 1983, so in America the Nintendo was bigger here. So I think mine was NES was my first one. So
Yeah, you're older than me, so that's all right.
Oh, okay. There you go. I think I got it, and then I beat Mario over the course of. I played like for 24 hours, and I beat Mario 1, which is. It was pretty tough. And I remember, like, I ran into like my parents' bedroom. My mom was up cleaning for some reason because she's crazy and like obsessive cleaner. Anyway, so she was cleaning late at night, and I ran into her bedroom, and she had all these light bulbs on the ground because she was taking them off of the fixtures. And I ran in. I said, "Mom, I beat Mario," and then I stepped on a light bulb.
Ooh.
And it cracked and it sliced right through my pinky toe, or one of my ring toe. And I was like, but I beat Mario, Mom. So I went to the hospital going, I beat Mario. But I was like happy but screaming and in agony at the same time. So it was really funny.
I think the first game I ever beat was probably The Legend of Zelda on the SNES.
Really?
Yeah.
I was really interested in that area. I mean, we'll talk a little bit on the live streams about your area. But anything you want to say about Hull? I mean, I'm sure nobody from Hull will be listening to this, so.
Yeah. Don't walk around some of it at night, maybe. No, it's shit, man. It is shit. Like, I don't know how many people would have seen, but have you ever watched the Devo series?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all filmed in Hull and around it, so you can imagine what his character is the typical people you see around the middle of the town.
Oh, okay.
They're the actual people you see.
So yeah, what he's talking about this I think it's David Firth's fatpie.com. David Firth, who made Salad Fingers, I think he had this little series called Devil, which I think was supposed to be kind of like somebody like kind of on the street, who was like basically trying to get people to buy his train tickets and taking people's jackets, and it's kind of like the kids that I work with. It was like doing a lot of interesting substances, and it's kind of the stuff that I was trying to get kids to stop doing when I was the teacher, and they'd be like, "No, mate, I'm not gonna stop doing it. Get down." Give me a jacket.
Give me a jacket.
So yeah, Devil. Yeah. So how accurate is Devil? Would you say is that pretty close, or is it over dramatized? It's like pretty much that's how it is.
It's over dramatized, but you do get them. You literally do see people like that.
Oh, okay. Did you were you ever like Devil?
No.
I still haven't gotten up to the UK. I was gonna go there at one point because William Gibson, the Cyberpunk Godfather, was having a big thing in London, and we were all gonna meet up. But then I couldn't afford the $2,000 for the plane ticket, so I went to Canada and I went to the Canadian one instead and met my wife. So that was a good deal, save $1,200 and also get a wife. So that's nice.
London's not so bad. It's London's like, I don't know. It's complete different world because it's down south, and down south's completely different to up here. Like up here, everyone's more fuck off, mate. What you fucking looking at, kind of thing. Where down south, they're more like they'll ignore you completely.
Oh yeah. So how about your Mrs. Peahead Games? Congratulations again. I told you on the chat, but congratulations on getting married this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope you're not gone insane yet or all white hair. Are you okay?
No, getting there though.
How has that been, the married part of it?
Nothing's changed, but then we've lived together for 8 years anyway, so I guess nothing could really change.
Yeah. How are the how is the shoes? Do you have enough shoes yet?
I don't. If she buys any more, I'll murder myself.
Anybody who watches the streams will know that Mrs. Peahead Games, Japes' wife, really really loves the shoes. Apparently, she bought an entire giant luggage, the height of a toddler, with them to their the honeymoon, full of shoes. Right, that's what you need when you go to Greece. You gotta walk in through that sand, that warm Greek tropical sand with that nice water. You want to have high heels when you go through that sand, right? I was like,
she was like, these are beach shoes, these are going out shoes, these are daytime shoes, these are nighttime shoes, these are for bar pool shoes. It's like, no. And there's me. These are my trainers, and these for the beach.
So when Neon Sword makes $50 million, I guess you're gonna need a whole new house for all the shoes, for all that money.
I need 3 walk-in cupboards, one for her shoes, one for her clothes, and one for whatever else she wants. Handbags, most likely.
Oh, okay. Okay, I gotta ask you this: what is a cheeky Nando's, man? What is that? Is that a thing?
You know them kind of people who's on about? That's where they go.
Oh, okay. That's where they go when they get tired of taking people's jackets and sniffing the stuff I'm not gonna say because I don't want to encourage anybody. But I believe that if you're making an indie game, I'm never gonna beat Assassin's Creed and make something better than that. I'm never gonna make a better Battlefield or a Star Wars game because I don't have the time, resources, or I don't have 2,000 people with decades of experience to make that level of game. But what you can do as an indie is you can make something that is incredibly super personal, and you can say something that big studios just can't because they're limited by having to make $1 billion from every game, and limited by they have to reach everybody. They have to reach 5-year-olds and 20-year-olds from China and England and the US, and everybody has to be able to play it, which is why Pokemon and stuff like that is anybody can play it, right? So you can be 40-year-old guy, or you can be a 5-year-old girl, you can be anything. But for indie games, you can kind of you have much more freedom. You can make a game that only the cyberpunk hardcore crazy point and click or that certain segment will play, and it's okay because I don't have to make a trillion. I don't have to sell 50 million copies of it in order to keep going.
Yeah.
But so I always say that's why Near Future is a super personal story. It's basically my experiences. Terminus Machina was also my experiences. The next game is gonna be it's gonna be different, but a lot of it is gonna be very personal stuff. How much of your life and stuff goes into Neon Sword or that kind of way?
I think when you're indie, anyways, it's personal to you. Your game's personal to you, anyways. No matter what the story's about, there's something about you in that story. I think the city's basically a reflection of my personality. There's mad sides, there's down sides, there's nice sides. It's all like that. I think the city's basically me. It sounds mental, but I must be for making a game this big.
Right. Yeah. No. I definitely get that. I mean, I have to admit I have not played a whole ton of games recently. I mean, for probably similar reasons to you. When you're a kid, you're just taking care of yourself, and so you got all this time to spend on working, and so you don't have as much time to play. I don't have as much time to play games as I would like either. So when I do make that $1 million, and then I can retire to the nicer side of the volcano in Hawaii, as I always like to joke, when I do get to that point, I'm gonna just take some of that time. I'm gonna take a good year off and just play games that I've missed because I haven't played as many as I would have liked. I didn't rag too much on AAA games, so I'm gonna give them a little bit of pain today. I haven't played a good AAA. I don't know. Have you? I haven't played that many good AAA games. What do you think? What do you think about the state of that big game industry? Just the entire game industry.
To be honest, the AAA industry right now is in the pan due to the loot boxes and the add-ons, whatever else like that. It's just stupid shit constantly. I think it's men in suits that don't play video games, don't play games like we would have and have and still do now and again. Them kind of people that see money and think, the video game industry's brought in billions for Steam right now. Let's get a game on there and charge people for playing it over a couple of weeks. Let's basically gambling constantly in games. That's what it is. I don't agree with the loot box situation that's going on in the AAA industry. not all. But I think indie's the way forwards at the moment, because I don't even remember when a good AAA game came out that wasn't covered in loot boxes. Anyways, do you?
I have to say no, and like I mean I don't know. EA Games said we're not doing any more single player games. Single player games, narrative games, which like Neofeud, like Neon Sword, right? These are not these are designed to be like story experiences that you will play through. These guys said that those are over because if you have a game, a long running multiplayer Battlefield, one of those big long games where you can just microtransaction and just pay the level and just keep get people like stuck and addicted to that game, and then just keep taking basically half of their salary per month and just dumping that into the game because like gambling which is illegal in a lot of places, probably for a good reason, right? Like certain types of substances are illegal and certain types of things are illegal because it's like it's a free choice. Like you could choose to pay for that loot box or you could choose to not, right? But for people with addictive personalities, it's like if you put certain narcotics and you just threw them on the street and you said, hey everybody, try some of these narcotics, right? Certain types of drugs, right, that are really addictive, you could say, well, they could have choose to not pick up that needle, right?
But they would. Someone would.
Yeah, and then if you threw that in front of some kids, right, and you could say, well, they could choose not to do, but if once you shoot up that thing, right, once you do certain types of, addictive substances, you're addicted to it, and so you should not be able to just spread that all over the place, So that's, a lot of people I think of like loot boxes, that gambling stuff. It is an addiction, and I know people I just talked to a guy who was like, yeah, I got divorced because got so addicted to these loot boxes. I was dropping like the paycheck, all my salary for the month on, $500,000 on, I forget what game it was. Like one of these, I'm not going to name names, but we know what they are, right? Where you just like $1 every time, right? But if you do that 20, 30, 40 times a day, times it over a month, that's it's hundreds of thousands or $1,000. And so this guy got divorced, and like he actually, I think he might have been homeless for a little while because he couldn't pay rent because he was so addicted to these loot boxes. So I do think it is like it is kind of like digital heroin in a certain sense, and so that part of it is that part of it is just crazy. But at the same time, Steam has, as we said, Steam has a monopoly, right? I don't know about you, but the guy said GOG gets like 5%, Good Old Games gets 5%, and Steam has like basically the whole PC market, and so you can't really compete. And so I don't know, it's just kind of an unfortunate situation. So I do think, anyway, long story short, the indies I think is the way forward because of that. And I don't think that single player games are dead because for them they're dead, right? But I think for most people, I don't think people are gonna stop. Like people don't stop watching movies. What is a movie? A movie is a narrative single experience. You're not going to a movie and like, it's not like a multiplayer experience when you're in a movie, but people still watch them, right? So I don't know. What do you think about that? That single player games are dead thing? I don't know, or anything I just said.
I really don't believe single player games are dead. How many times have they sold Skyrim on different like consoles and whatever else it's on now? There's currently on Skyrim right now, there's 19,000 people online on Steam. Like, how was that dead?
Yeah, point QED. That's it right there, man. Yeah. So like, I think that the single player games are still going. Even if they were dead, I'm not gonna stop making this kind of stuff because multiplayer is okay, but that's the one place that it's lacking, right? What is the story of? I know Overwatch and these kind of games, they have background stories, but in the game, the story is I ran around and we shot each other. And there isn't, so it's it's like what is the story of soccer, right? Yeah, it's not really a story, right? It's just we ran around and we kicked the ball around and we kicked it in the goal, and the other guy headbutted me, and then I got a penalty. The end, it's like it's it's a different thing, right? It's a different thing. So
but problem is with multiplayer at the moment is like say Battlefield, whatever. I can't get into them at the moment because they demand constant time, and if you ain't got that time, they're like, oh, buy a loot box and we'll give you a few weapons that'll help you. It's like, no, it's a spiral. If you ain't got time, then you've got money to put into it. That's what they see it as.
Yeah, as we mentioned, right? If you're a young person, if you're in school, you might have a lot of time. But if you're not, if you're like me or you, we were working all the time. oh, I'll just put some money in because I don't have 6 hours. I gotta go dev this game. I gotta go drop my kid off at the practice, and then I gotta go, do my taxes. So here's $10. Give me a Darth Vader level character, in my Star. I think Star Wars has taken that out, but there's a lot of games that still have it. So it is like it is kind of taking advantage of people who have some money but not a lot of time, and so yeah, that totally sucks. Here's one more difficulty and I already talked about this, but 6,000 games came out right this year on Steam. Unfortunately, I mean it's a lot of games, and apparently you get 60 minutes, right? 60 minutes, 1 hour on the Steam front page, and then your game's off. So that's like all the time that you get, and based on the number of click-throughs, that's how it's decided. Like Steam will market or not market your game based on the number of people click through. And I mean, unfortunately, like this is not so good thing that's happening is a lot of people just put up a fake game or put up a lot of games with nice screenshots, but then there's no game there. I don't have you run into that kind of stuff where it's just like lots of spamming games, and then people don't ask. Not everybody asks for a refund. So even if you sell like 2,000 games and everybody found it, oh my god, this is just like a screenshot. There's no game there. It's just a ripoff. If it's a $5 game, a lot of people, statistically, not a lot of people are not going to ask for a refund. And even if you review bomb them, right, it's kind of like the next game comes out, and then I don't know if you encounter that.
Yeah, I've seen it happen, but this is why with Neon Sword I started marketing it. I guess it's marketing it early, like putting it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It was on all them things. As soon as I sat down, I was like, right, I'm dedicated to this game. I'm going to finish it. As soon as I'd thought like that, I got it onto all them, so people could go through the progress with me. Like, I think if you go on Instagram, you can go all the way back to the very first screenshots where it's like 5 buildings in the entire city.
But yeah, it's good to have like at least have some of the updates. I mean, because it is one thing that people are saying, and I talk a lot. Every indie developer is like, don't rely on Steam. So anybody who's making a game, don't rely on Steam. Getting on Steam is not going to guarantee you any kind of sale numbers or success. So it used to, where as we said, getting on Steam used to guarantee you like tens of thousands probably. But nowadays, you got to market it yourself or with the publisher. You got to have the audience already there before you get there. So do share it, and one thing you can do is you can come on a Silver Spook podcast, and I'll help share that with everybody, because that's part of my goal is with this podcast. Spread the word with other indies and connect up audiences for people who are doing something, that are passionate about it, that are doing something. I mean, it doesn't have to be cyberpunk, and I use that term very loosely. I don't mean like it doesn't have to have pink mohawks and a guy in a trench coat and somebody who sounds like Harrison Ford. It doesn't have to look like Blade Runner or have Keanu Reeves in it for it to be cyberpunk. These people say, well, what are you doing? Like, don't just get mad at the AAA games industry for all these loot boxes and all of this crappy games. Why don't you just do something? Well, I mean, what I'm doing is I'm trying to promote these other people so that there will, it won't just be like a total monopoly of not so good stuff and, asset flips and then AAA ripoffs. I mean, if you are listening to this, think about jumping on the Silver Spook podcast one day. Just send me a message on the Twitter, or I got all kind of accounts all over the place. I don't have Instagram.
Was it in anime porn?
I don't do I don't do the porn games. If you got one of those, you can probably I don't know. There's a lot of outlets for you. Let's put that way. One of them starts with a porn and ends with a hub. Let's put it that way. Put it over there. Okay, here's something. Are you currently working with Warwick Davis, or is that not happening?
He's working with the same publisher as me, but he ain't working with me. Although I could probably use him.
Right. Yeah, I would say let's if you ever I joked, I said if you ever get Harrison Ford or one of those guys, just let him come on your Skype, and then I'm gonna trick him into doing some lines for my next game. I'm just gonna hey, can you read this for me? I don't know what this says. Harrison, can you read this for me? It's been like, can we say anything about Jane, or is that not something?
Yeah, we could say what you want. Let's.
Oh, okay. Jane, the head of Keystone, well, the CTO, I think, is as you mentioned, worked on Dark Seed, which I played, and the Alien versus Predator games, and what was the other one you mentioned? 007, yeah. So that, I mean, the Keystone Games, one of the head guys is a long-time veteran of the game industry. So Yeah, and like I had the lucky opportunity. I talked to him a little bit early on, and at least he seemed to like. I mean, he seemed to at least take a look at Near Feud, because I Dark Seed, which is one of the games that was just kind of some inspiration behind Near Feud, another point and click adventure made by Jane Whittaker, was it had H.R. Geiger's the Aliens, the guy who did the art design for Alien and Aliens, had a lot of his work inside of this Dark Seed game. So a lot of Near Feud has some people said it was kind of scary, and some of it, it's a lot of like very like detailed, kind of very intricate Geiger like artwork in Near Feud. Well, a lot of that was inspired by that part of it. A lot of it came from Dark Seed, which is you've seen some of it, right? You've seen some Dark Seed.
Yeah, I've seen bits and bobs of it.
But it's kind of like Alien, but like in the suburbs. The guy has like H.R. Geiger artwork nightmares. So you got like the crazy alien baby, and you got the xenomorph things. But it's a pretty trippy game. It's like you do that game and you're like, am I doing acid or did that just happen? Like, am I tripping something? But yeah, it was a great horror. But yeah, have you got to talk to Jaden at all, or do anything work with him?
I speak to Jane quite a lot actually, because obviously he's the main person, apart from like everybody in between. But yeah, I've had some long chats with him. He's actually from the same place as me, so he's actually from Hull. So
oh, he is.
Yeah, his dad actually lives like literally round the corner from where I live.
Oh wow. Oh okay. So yeah, so you can go talk to Jane Whittaker's dad anytime you want, huh?
Yeah.
You tell him. You should go tell his dad, hey, can you tell Jane to make sure my game comes out on the front page of Keystone?
Just take him hostage. Pull the game out.
Yeah. Did you get to the part with the robot kid in Near Feud?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But
because
I've seen you do it and everything.
Yeah, I did an entire thing where I like play that robot dude. Though I mean, like a lot of that stuff is I like to pick up on the what do you call it? Colloquialism is the fancy word, but basically the slang and the sayings of places. And then that kid is basically the city where I'm from. They sound a lot like L.A. because they just, I don't know, for whatever reason it just came over. So they talk like how people in the the poor part of L.A. talk. And then I got people, like I know some South African folks, they have their own, the Antwoord, right? Yeah. So like all that stuff. So and then you have, there's some of the London and UK slang. That character, the Proto J, has a lot of a mixture of all of that. His idea is kind of like he's in a future city in which it's kind of like everything's kind of blended. It's a very cyberpunk where everything kind of blended together in the same way that Blade Runner has like all this, the Japanese eating in the noodle market, right? And what's like the James Edward Olmos, the cop who makes the origami, right? He has his own. It's like a Japanese cross with Mexican cross with LA slang. It's just totally new language, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm always kind of interested by that stuff. So because the kids I was working with, they didn't talk, and the kids, my friends when I was growing up, they didn't talk proper English, I can't even say like there's a language in Hawaii called Pidgin English, which is basically it's like Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, Hawaiian. It's a plantation, because everybody was working in the sugar plantation. So they made this whole new language, and it sounds really strange. Like I don't know, what was your favorite cyberpunk movie? Maybe
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Okay. Well, all right. I think we're like 10 for 10. Everybody loves Blade Runner, so Blade Runner gets the the Neon Star Award for best cyberpunk movie of all time, because everybody has said Blade Runner. Like nobody has not said Blade Runner. I don't know if nobody wants to piss me off, but yeah. Okay, instead of talking about Blade Runner, because we already talked about that like every single podcast, what's the best one this year then for you? Well, I think it's kind of obvious, right? Or not?
I can say if you want.
Oh, it's some. Okay. Well, what is it then? Is it going to be something surprising?
No.
Okay, what is it then?
Blade Runner.
Okay, so I think Ridley Scott, he owes me some money because I'm giving him so much free marketing right now, man. He's gonna be.
It's got to be the Matrix as well.
Okay, yeah. Is that your second? What's your second favorite?
Yeah, the Matrix.
Matrix. Okay. What did you like about the Matrix? I don't know. What's your favorite thing about the Matrix?
I think if you actually watch it and understand it, it's a lot deeper than what people see on the surface.
Well, when it came out, it kind of blew a lot of minds, I think. Yeah, what did you think about it when you first saw it? When did you see it?
I seen it when it first came out. I don't know, I think it seemed amazing because the effects and stuff was something you'd not really seen before like that, and it proper blew my mind.
Right.
I remember thinking, "What? This is the best," and all that. And then after the third one came out, they made an online game, and I played that for years after as well.
Oh, really? The Matrix Online?
Yeah.
I never got to playing that, but I remember I think I was about to play it, but I didn't have the time really. But so was that some influence on Neon Sword by any chance?
Do you know what? If you look at Neon Sword, there's telephone booths in Neon Sword, and the telephone booths are based on the telephone booths in the Matrix Online, so they look similar to them. But that's my call out to them because I actually speak to some of the people that worked on the game, so I know them personally as well.
Oh, really? The Matrix Online?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I want to talk to them on the Silver Spoon podcast, okay? Actually, that's the next thing, because I got all the point and click guys. I gotta get the guy who made Deus Ex, and then I gotta get Keanu. Keanu Reeves is actually Hawaiian, right? He's actually his dad is from Hawaii.
Knows him.
Huh?
Jen knows him.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right, so I want to I need Keanu Reeves on the Silver Spook podcast, okay, bro? Because went from one Hawaiian to another, man. You gotta help me out. You gotta help us Cyberpunk. Hawaii. It's just weird because there's a lot of Hawaiians. I noticed there's a lot of Hawaiians who are in Cyberpunk stuff, like Keanu Reeves and was it Jason Momoa was just in the Bad Batch, which is it's post-apocalyptic, which is pretty close to Cyberpunk, and he's in a lot of sci-fi. So I want to do one with Jason Momoa, Khal Drogo, and Keanu Reeves, dressed up as Neo from the Matrix with the trench coat and the shades. And I'm gonna have my shades that I always wear. That I'm wearing them just because I need. Yeah, and I'm gonna have Keanu Reeves in the video podcast, and we're both gonna have the same shades on, and it's gonna be the best thing ever. And then Japes, you can drop in and ask him the question you always wanted to ask him, which is what I don't know.
Are you my father?
Spiritually, maybe he's kind of the father figure. It's yeah. I should say I just watched Johnny Mnemonic last night. So you seen that, Johnny Mnemonic?
No.
Oh, okay. I would recommend it's worth a look. It's got some bad ratings, but it's actually like Blade Runner. It was misunderstood and not well received in its time. So I would take it. It's pretty cyberpunk. It's got the worst part of New Jersey on it, which is you're probably gonna identify with some of the characters in it. There's a lot of homeless folks, situations similar to your situation. It has the punk side of it. I don't want to try to say this in the right way. It has the punk side of it. It's not just all flashy lights. I think a lot of the cyberpunk nowadays. I don't know what you think about it, but there's a lot of cyberpunk stuff that kind of calls itself cyberpunk, but it's mostly just. I don't want to rag on the anime, the cartoons, but a lot of it is just kind of the fun, flashy stuff, but not the punk stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So that's what New Fuse's got. It's got grimy, it's got the dirty. It's got it's got the guy in the alley, in the dark alley. It's got the the drug dealers. It's got the the people who unfortunately have to do stuff they don't want to do because that's what they got to do. And that's where punk. I mean, to me, that's where punk came from. It's punk is not flying. Being in some fancy cyber thing in a fancy building and having some cool technology. Having some techno glasses and drinking some fancy coffee. That's not punk to me. I mean, punk punk came from the street, right? I mean, I don't know what you think about that.
Oh yeah, exactly. If you there's a video of Neon Sword, and if you watch it, it's just me running around the city, but you'll see the city goes from nice areas to shitty areas to nice areas, because I want that punk side in there as well that makes it dark. You don't want all these bright lights everywhere constantly. There's literally the worst parts of Quaid City, which is obviously a reference.
Right.
It's got proper shitty parts. You can walk around them on Neon Sword and you'll be like, you're like, fucking hell, this is a bad area just by looking at it. But you also can influence some areas with your businesses that you run can change how that area looks as well. I don't know if I mentioned that before to you.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. That sounds pretty interesting. So like, what would be like? So for example, if you ran a business, what was something that you could do that would impact what the area? Like, what would be like an example of that?
Say if you ran drugs from the back of a building, the back of your business, that area will like things in that area will start like closing down, and you'll see more homeless people. There'll be more like shacks outside and stuff like that because people have lost their jobs because they're addicted to the drugs that are in the in that area now.
What? Oh yeah, keep going.
Yeah, basically that's it. You see the crime will rise in that area because the more people are addicted to what you're getting out there.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool, man. To me, that's the kind of stuff that like interests me.
Yeah.
You know, how your decisions and like how things that people do impact the, how it actually affects the world. The Spinartality guy I talked to also, he's making a big cyberpunk strategy game, right? Where it's kind of, I don't know if you heard anything about that, but Spinartality is it's currently got funded, so good job.
I'm following that on Twitter actually. You just reminded me.
Yeah. So Jamie Patton, who's also from the UK, now in Austria, but is Spinartality is another cyberpunk strategy game where you play like the evil, you play the big mega corporation that develops horrible products that kill people and then spins cultures that make people think that it's great and then sells it to them, and buy governments, subvert democracies, start wars, start chaos. Assassinate people that don't want to put the policies that you want through. There's it's basically you play like the equivalent of the Tyrell Corporation or worse, or Wallace Corporation in Blade Runner 2049 in this game, but it's from a big from like a global wide angle lens, like aerial view of the world.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it seems like there's a little bit of crossover between that and this, but where this one this one's kind of like a much more, what do you call, first person, like in your face kind of perspective, where you actually see in that game. I think, as I understand it, it's mostly strategy, and you can see numbers and there's a little bit of graphics, but not a whole lot. Whereas it seems like this one, you might actually meet some characters, right? So if you start pushing those drugs, maybe I don't don't want to put more words in your mouth, but you might you actually see the characters or the areas and people on the street, and you see the actual physical real life effects of the things that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So what happens if you go up and talk to the guy? Is the guy gonna the guy who used to have a job and now he's homeless? What is he gonna say to you?
It depends, because there's so much different dialogue that can happen between different people that it's not exactly predictable what you could get.
Oh, so how is it? How does it work? Like, are you writing all that dialogue, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, it's all written. It goes by how people see you, what different skills you've got, how you've affected a certain area, so how people will react to you.
Oh, okay, I see. I think that part. Yeah, now I really want to play this game on the one of the streams, or maybe I'll just do a whole podcast. It's just Neon Sword or something, but a video one. So, because that part, this is something that happens in near field, that a segment of the population, like there's humans, then there's like the pure, or like the super wealthy humans, kind of like in Altered Carbon, where you can stay immortal by transplanting your mind into other bodies. Those the kings, the literal masters of the universe, that's super rich, and then there's kind of humans, and then there's cyborg, and then there's like the robots and the half human, half animal experiments that the rich, they're like the failed experiments while the rich were trying to create better bodies for themselves, and they just dump them into the trash pile, into the areas that are the equivalent of Hull in Near Feud, and they go, yeah, go ahead, figure out how to live when you got cancer coming out of your artificial cancer coming out of your legs, and your batteries are dying in your arms, and your cybernetic arm is rusting and broken. So figure out how to live. I don't really give a crap. There's no social safety net. Go F yourself. That's basically what they're saying. And so there's these characters, right, and the robots who kind of like create these gangs, like the Chrome Boys, and there's like the Robo Ballers, and there's like all these and one of the main characters is a member of the gangs, who like, basically they're selling drugs, they're pushing drugs, and and a lot of it is like, it's like the main character is supposed to get kids off of drugs, right? He's like a social worker, right? Like that was my job before. He's like trying to get kids off of drugs. And and a lot of the response is like, well, what the hell, the kids, the one, I don't want to name names, but he's the one who goes like, what the hell I gonna do, like, so what you want me to go back to school? What you think you is, Mr. T? I don't do drugs, stay in school, little Johnny, bitch. I tried to straighten out going to school, bullshit. Now school's a fucking myth lab, and last time I went, I got beat to blue screen by a couple of species as cops, and so like, he's giving a blip, like you're basically saying, hey, you want me to go to school? There is no school. It's a drug lab, right? And that's all I can do because nobody wants to hire robots. They only want to hire people. And so, like, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of this is based on stuff that I heard. I had kids come, Mr. Chris, or like, Mr., when I was teaching them, trying to get them to get off the drugs, they're going, what do you mean you go to school? There is no school. I go to school, the teachers they don't even teach anything. I show up and they're like on their phone the whole time. And then, I get out of school and then there's these guys going, hey, you can make a lot of money selling drugs. And then, I didn't even know what to, I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know what to say a lot of the time. I'd be like, shit, kid. I mean, I don't know, man. I honestly, sometimes I didn't really know what to say because it was kind of like, you are kind of in a, you don't have any good choice, right? I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in that position or anybody that's had that, but I mean, that's something like that experience is something that you don't get in a lot of the new Cyberpunk, even in Blade Runner, and it's great, but I think like that kind of stuff is like, that is like really that. I mean, a lot of the stuff is like really where the punk stuff comes in, and that's why I like that idea that you just brought up in Neon Sword, and I hope that more games do that. But I don't know if you want to comment on that, but is that yeah?
I think it's harder for big publishers and for the film industry to do things like that nowadays because they've got to walk on eggshells around a lot of people as well, where we don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just I'm like, this actually got me in trouble before, I should say, so like I've actually said stuff in there, but like, you can't say that about us. We're rich, important people, and they're like, it actually cost me a job once. But, I was like, you know what? Well, go fuck yourself, motherfucker. Like, cause that's my experience, bitch. And your rich, important shit is fucking me over. So, and then they basically said, well, you're fired. And I was like, well, fuck you. So, I will say, like that's, it like literally, yeah, it sucked, but also I was like, I'm not gonna, at the end of the day, like, you can't, it's worth it to me to kind of like say what is actually going on rather than just kind of like, I mean, every job you got to do a certain amount. You got to hold your tongue, right? In any job, you're gonna have to, even getting on Steam, you can't say certain things, right? You can't say certain things, but there's certain things that like, I'm not gonna, I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna like make it nice. I'm not gonna just make it into like a happy anime game where we just date robots and not that it's dating is bad, but and everything's just happy, hunky dory, and in the game just because somebody wants it to be that way, because that's not how it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
yeah.
So leave that idea in. Well, Keystone Games. I mean, how have they been about that? Have they been like, oh, you got to tone this down, man, or have they been kind of like, yeah, just do what you want?
Yeah, they've basically said, no, it's your game, your idea, go with it, run with it. If it works, then do it. So I've been going along and just going with it. But yeah, because what I was worried about was that they'd try and censor me, with obviously being a charity for kids and stuff. But they've said to me, I've shown them a lot worse stuff that's in Neon Sword, and they've said yeah, that's fine, and I've been like, great.
Yeah, that's well. I guess it's like, I mean, this is gonna have a rating, so it's like young kids are obviously not gonna necessarily be playing it, right? But but it's fine because the money from the game is gonna go to help the kids, but the game itself, is gonna be played by older folks, obviously, right?
Yeah, I don't. The story, anyways, is like it's quite out there. I don't think kids would understand it, anyways. Like they'd be too young for it, the way it is at the moment.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, same thing for Neophyte. I mean, like I mean, it's not like it's a difficult game for a lot of reasons, and one of them is like there's some hard scenes in it. Some people have even said like they had to kind of stop playing for a little bit because it's not because like it was hard to like they got stuck, but because they there's some scenes that are like they're just like difficult to watch because of the stuff that's happening in like the kind of stuff that we're talking about, right? Is like I mean you've seen this kind of stuff. It's like it can get really ugly, right, in the street, and so I wouldn't want like I wouldn't like if my kids were to actually play that game, like they would if they could understand it, they might actually be traumatized. So I wouldn't want them to play it. But maybe when you're in high school, probably can handle it. The ultimate thing, right? The final thing, like the message of it, I think it seems like. I mean, Cyberpunk generally, right, is kind of the message is like, let's not do this. And, I mean, I guess the point of it is not like let's live in a world where there's just like horrible, massive corporations and everybody else is just poor. The point of it is kind of like, let's not make the world more like that. I mean, I don't know what you think. I mean, you have kids now, right? So
yeah. I'd rather not be in that kind of world.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you've actually been homeless, I mean, like that's not so cool, right? I mean, like,
oh yeah, it's not cool. The idea of cyberpunk as a genre is nice and cool, but the actual reality of that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's why I think of it as like it's you want. I mean, unlike there's other genres or like utopian. Like Star Trek is more like we should probably move more like Star Trek, where you can just go to any machine and everybody's got all the food and all the nobody works in Star. I mean, for the most part, it's kind of like machines print up all the food you want and nobody's hungry, nobody's homeless since I haven't seen anybody homeless in Star Trek. I mean, right? I mean, unless they go to a backwards planet at Cyberpunk, right? Like, yeah, both things have their merit. I mean, it's good to make some stuff that's happy or not as dark stuff, but I tried to like kind of make some like kind of like sunnier, happier space opera kind of Star Trek-ish stuff, and like I don't know, I couldn't do it. I just tried and I was like I don't know what that world would be like. It's kind of like I only kind of know my experiences. Like like I'm sure like if you tried to make like something that was really happy, you'd have hard. I don't know. Have you tried to make any of that kind of games? I mean, if you made like a puzzle game, it's different, but
I don't think, to be honest, an happy, cheerful game won't really suit my style, anyways.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I'd be able to. Not by myself.
Yeah. Oh, here I have to ask you this before we go. So your sister.
Which one?
How many sisters do you have? How's that? How many brothers and sisters?
On my mum's side, I've got 4 sisters. On my dad's side, I think I've got 6 sisters and 3 brothers. I think.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. So how's the Thanksgiving and Christmas? If they all got together, you did a big room for that, right? I mean,
yeah, I need a real big room.
So, is cyber goth still a thing over there, or is that not?
I don't. In Hull, cyber goth probably not. You do see a lot of goths now and then, but I don't know. My family is more bikers, so it's more like leather jackets, small t-shirts, and jeans. Kind of
I
thing.
see. Your wife obviously has some other fashion ideas, right?
She's like the typical girly girl kind of fashion kind of shit.
Oh, okay. My wife, she does like fashion. She's kind of more on the punk. I would say she's more of the t-shirts and jeans and that kind of end of the spectrum. Although she does do a lot of different interesting makeups and stuff like that. Oh, she did do the makeup for Proto. The one thing where I dressed up as one of the Neophyte characters.
Oh, that was good. That.
Yeah. So all that makeup she did all of that. So that took some time, man. I played the Terminator one year too. That was one of my Halloween costumes, and she did all the makeup. The whole face coming off, like the red eye, and the skin and the metal and all that stuff.
Everyone loves Terminator, don't they?
Oh yeah, they better. Otherwise, someone's just gonna come over there and tell you what's what. Yeah, James Cameron. Oh, James Cameron's putting out Battle Angel Alita. I don't know if you saw that.
Nah, I haven't seen much.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's not out yet, but he's there's a trailer was released for this because Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so James Cameron is gonna do Battle. It's another anime that was like Ghost in the Shell called Battle Angel Alita. And then also Altered Carbon just dropped. I don't know. Did you see that trailer? The Altered Carbon one?
I haven't seen no trailers. I don't see TV, do I?
Oh, it's on the internet. That's where I saw it. I saw it on my Twitter feed somewhere. Somebody showed it up. But Altered Carbon is
more time on Twitter.
yeah. I'm in the Cyberpunk Facebook groups. That's also where I find some of this stuff.
Oh, actually, I'm in some of them, but again, I don't really spend time on Facebook. If it's up because I'm chatting to someone.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's probably smart because I waste a lot of time there. So you should probably stick to that. But it is good to get. I mean, I got the Altered Carbon is a book, but it's another cyberpunk book that was written in like 2000.
I know what you mean.
You heard of that?
Yeah, the Netflix show, isn't it? It's gonna be on Netflix.
Yeah. It's gonna be on Netflix. So, yeah, there's that. There's a bunch of Cyberpunk. I think next year is gonna be the year. Blade Runner 2049 already came out, but there's a bunch of like Netflix, Amazon, all these James Cameron, all these big studios and names are trying to jump on the Cyberpunk thing now.
Yeah.
So it should be. Should be like good for next year. Maybe we'll have some other. I won't have to talk about Blade Runner every single podcast because there'll be some other shows. Maybe I don't know.
As long as don't wash it down.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, okay. Here, how about that? What do you hope they don't do? Peahead Games.
Wash it down. Yeah, I want it to be more like the 80s kind of cyberpunk where it'd show you the gore and whatever else it needed to show you, like show you the downside of life, not like I don't know, not all this utopia shit that they've started showing in films that apparently are cyberpunk as well. I don't know. I just don't want them to fuck up the genre.
Pretty much, man. You say it as clear as possible. Thankfully, like Blade Runner 2049. They could have really screwed that up. I think.
Oh yeah, that could have gone so bad.
Yeah, I was watching some of the trailers. I was like, oh my god, this is just gonna be Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling jumping around with a couple explosions and that's it. I don't know. First trailer kind of scared me, but like.
Thing is, you get an hour and a half without Harrison Ford, and then all of a sudden he's in it for 10 minutes, and then he's out, and then he's back.
Yeah. So, but thankfully, that wasn't as bad as it could have been. Yeah, probably gonna have
you
to.
Seen Electric Dreams yet?
Electric Dreams? No. Where is that on? Where's that on?
I'm not sure what it's on in America, but it's been shown here. Just Google it. It's Philip K's Electric Dreams. Philip K. Dick's Electric Dreams.
Oh, okay. I have not seen that. I have to check it out. I've not seen that. Oh, have you seen the Black Mirror by any chance?
No, is it good?
The Black Mirror is a TV show. I think it's a UK made show, and it's like dystopian and not necessarily. There's a lot of cyberpunk stuff in it, but it is super bleak. If you like dark stuff, it is really dark. Like some of them are depressing, and I had to stop watching actually after about two or three episodes for a little while because it was just like you can't watch more than one. It's just like super. It's kind of like what would happen if like certain technologies keep going, like what do you call it? There's one where the bees die, and so they have these robot bees that repollinate. They're used to pollinate plants, and somebody ends up using these bee drones to they hack the drones and then make them burrow into people's heads and kill them with the bee drones, and they're everywhere, right? You can't get rid of them because there's no bees left, and so people are like randomly getting killed by this bee drone, and some scary stuff in it. And it's scary because it's close. It's like it could happen tomorrow, kind of stuff.
Literally.
Like because they already have these little drones, right? And there's like one where they like the military like puts like fake things on your eyeball. It's like it's like in order to get people to kill each other, like your Google Glass, but like a contact version of it. It broadcasts like it makes people look like zombies and monsters, and then you think you're killing zombies and monsters in real life, but you're actually killing people. So it's like some really creepy stuff like that. So it's yeah, really dark. So you like come to like I don't know some poor area of the world, and you think you're killing monsters, but you're actually just killing everyone in the village. So yeah, it's pretty dark stuff. Anyways, yeah. So
that'd be one way to deal with like PTSD with soldiers, though, wouldn't it? you'd be able to just make them think they're killing monsters, and they could be out there just killing an entire village of people.
That's pretty much what it is. Like, because the military. Well, I don't want to give away the whole plot, but it's kind of like, because people, that's one of the things, right? Is PTSD and the people's reaction. They don't want to. They won't even shoot certain things if they say, "I need you to shoot that unarmed group of people." A lot of soldiers won't do it, and so this is like the way around it is just make it, and then you can't take it out. It's like implanted in your face, so you can't even take it out. So it's like
I'll have to give it a watch.
Yeah, that one is pretty scary stuff, man. Yeah. So and so then and when you get out of the military, it doesn't go away. So the people who own the corporation that owns that technology broadcasts whatever it wants for the rest of your life. So you think you're married, but you're really not. It's a mannequin. Like, yeah. So it's crazy. That's pretty crazy stuff. Yeah. So that's Black Mirror. Maybe I'll get that guy who made that on one day. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Jay knows him too. I don't know.
Don't ask me.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get Jane on one day. That's one. He did some cyberpunk stuff.
Yeah,
Aliens is. Yeah, maybe I already talked to him on Skype one time, but I have to go through the proper channels about it. We'll see about it. I know he's a busy guy. He's got lots of company to run. So.
Oh yeah, but I'm sure he still would if you had to talk to him, told him what it was about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely give it a shot because he has some great stuff under his belt. So
he's got crazy stuff, man, including like working on actual James Bond films and shit.
Right, yeah, because he had movie Endgame and all kinds of experience.
He's got a really big history though in both game and film.
Right. I think MGM was it Metro-Goldwyn?
Yeah, it was.
I talked to him one time. I was like blown away. I was like, wow, is that really this guy who made Alien vs Predator and all those movies and 007? And he's like talking to me about Near Feud, and he's like, that's pretty crazy. I was kind of like, I kind of like almost had a meltdown that day because I was like, what the shit? This is the guy that made. This is crazy, right? I mean, I don't know what it was like meeting him for the first time for you, but it was pretty crazy.
It was head spinning. You got to think I was halfway through making Neon Sword, and he come along and he was like, "Oh, I really like the looks of it. It reminds me of Syndicate when I was working on that." I was like, "Oh man, this is amazing."
Yeah. Oh yeah, Syndicate. So he worked on Syndicate too. Then.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Wow. Yeah. Because I was saying like it reminds me of Syndicate a little bit, some parts of it. But yeah, that's wow. So he would be the perfect guy to talk to then, I guess, about that kind of stuff because he's already kind of done some parts of things like Neon Sword, right? I mean, like that's like.
Yeah. He's worked on loads of like pretty dark shit.
Yeah. Well, Dark Seed definitely is dark. So, all right. So I'd like to thank my guest, Japes from Peahead Games, creator of Neon Sword, which is coming soon, 2018. You can check it out right now. Just Neon Sword on IndieDB. You can check it out. Yeah. And Japes, where can we find you and your stuff?
Everywhere. The Peahead Games on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever else I can put it.
Okay, so Peahead Games. Is it? I think it's Peahead Games. Yeah. Peahead at Peahead Games at Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And yeah. Anyway, this is Silver Spook. You can find me at silverspookgames.com. I'll say it this time because people might have forgotten. Use Silver Spook minus the E on Twitter because my name's too long. Silver Spook Games on Facebook. Silver Spook. Near Feud is the game. It's on Steam. Neo Feud is on also itch.io. It's also on sale, so go buy it right now. Yeah, so Near Feud is the game. If you want to support me, I'm also on Patreon. The podcasts and all these live streams and stuff is supporting me on Patreon will also support the podcasting and as well as feature games from Silver Spook Games. Yeah, any final words for our listeners?
No, thanks for having me.